But that's the basis of the business, learning human connection.
Jeff, looking back on that, I mean, my brother Jack started in the business 5 years before I did. So I was basically like a sophomore, in between sophomore and junior year in high school. During the summertime, Leroy, because I was a wrestler and everything, Leroy wrestled Oklahoma State also, like my brother and I. And so he gave me a job driving that ring truck. And then, eventually a referee would get hurt or something like that, and I'd have to fill in for a referee. I go back, I look at those days, those were probably the most important days, the foundation of my business learning. Because as a rig truck driver, all the talents around you are there early. You get to sit down and talk to them. You get to know them. They give you, they feed you little bits and pieces of knowledge and everything. And being a college wrestler, they were wanting to know a little bit about wrestling. Then they'd teach me a little bit about the working thing. But that driving the ring truck and getting to referee at an early age, probably the most valuable learning lesson I ever. Do you feel the same way?
Jerry, I've told this story recently. People are like, oh man, that I can resonate with it because here's a story that even to this day, we've got Dynamite and Collision and Raw and SmackDown and premium live events, and I mean the business is Logan Paul and Mike Tyson. And we could go on and on how massively big it is, but to me, the business still really draws down to putting butts in seats. And how do you put butts in seats? You got to emotionally connect. JBL, the hard ass heel. At the end of the day, that was our job is to emotionally connect with the fans. So one night, you kind of get in the groove of taking the ring, and I'm sitting back there, but still early that, okay, I'm gonna wait for the show to be over. And I was a little bit late after the last match, and my dad is about to get in his car and told Joe to leave. He's like, what are you doing? I said, oh, we got to get the ring down and all that. He said, I know. He said, what are you doing standing back here? And I said, well, just kind of waiting for it to clear out. And he goes, you're a dumbass. And I go, what's that? And he goes, you are losing every opportunity to engage the people to help you. And I said, what? Guys, he dropped his bags. And so I'd say half the house had left, maybe actually a little more. It was thinning out. And of course, he's a talent. But anyway, he walked up there and he starts unlacing the ring mat. And he looks over at a guy and he goes, hey, man, I've got this started. I've got to go over and do this other side. Will you do this for me? So he got a big old burly guy, and that guy's doing that. He gets another one. So now he's got 4 people unlacing the mat. He jumps up in the ring and he said, hey, kid, get over there. Upset. He said, when I twist, you twist. And now they start doing the ropes, doing the ropes. Before you know it, there's like 6 guys undoing the ring. My dad's over supervising. He tells me, go get the freaking truck, blah, 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 get it backed up here. We had the ring out of there in a half hour with 8 or 10 fans, well, quote unquote, helping us. But the lesson he taught me was really engage people. Don't sit back and wait. Engage people. And then he went on to a long Jerry Jarrett sermon I'm not kidding you, for years after that. He would say, hey, remember when I taught you how to really take down the ring? I'm like, yeah, here we go again. He goes,
Hey, here we go.
but that's the basis of the business, learning human connection. Because he said, if you really understand that, you're going to know how to piss somebody off. You're also going to have them feel as a baby face, just all those tricks of the trades. And my dad Lawler liked to used to see my reaction listening to my dad's sermon for the 1800th time, and Jerry just sit there and giggle along, and then he would feed my dad a line, and then finally he'd catch on to it and said, Lawler, just back off. But anyway, he's trying to teach how the business is. But I do the refereeing, pulling the ring, understanding like the emotional connection that our fans at a picture table. That's another whole lesson that, man, we could talk for hours, but at the picture table, signing pictures, listening to fans and their feedback, it's invaluable. It really is. And, the musicians of the world being here in Nashville, and I've always kind of picked their brain, but the 3 of us can hear music, and we're going to hear one thing. A studio musician, they really are hearing something completely different than we're hearing. It's because they got a trained ear. If we can train our ear, I tell young guys, if you can train your ear to really listen to what the crowd is responding to, you're on a different level.